Dow managing to end the day at another record high, but the broader market not as lucky, weighed down by a sell-off in the tech sector, although that recovered a bit. Let's bring in today's panel, Scott Martin from Kingsview Asset Management. He's also a Fox News contributor, and Kevin Kelly from Recon Capital. Scott, first of all, I got to bring politics in here because there was word today, and I noticed it did mark that point that the Dow began to turn around. Of course, at the end of the day, it went up. But when we heard about a proposal from inside the White House for a higher tax rate on the very rich, did that have anything to do with it?
Yeah, I think it did, David. It wouldn't be politics if you and I weren't involved, right? So I like that. And I'll tell you what's interesting. You know, it's funny, though. Some days the market seems to really care about some of these policy initiatives, and then other days it kind of whistles by the graveyard. So either way, I think the market realizes the key point here, which is higher taxes, whether it's on any bracket, if it's across the board, if it's on the high end, aren't good. And that's why we're seeing the market react so severely.
But, Kevin, the bottom line is when you look at the way the market turned around at the end of the day, you got to realize something's happening here, and whether it's the earnings, the profits, whatever, the markets just won't get down, or they won't stay down anyway.
Yeah, and the markets is being based off of where companies are guiding for the future, and companies are actually expecting to have a breakout quarter.
Kevin, I got to stop you in mid-sentence because we have Amazon numbers coming out. Let's go back to Nicole Petalides with those numbers. Nicole.
We're taking a look here at both the revenue and also the earnings per share. So the earnings per share, a big miss. That comes in at 40 cents per share versus the estimates of $1.42. By the way, we are seeing Amazon now down 3%. Don't forget the big sell-off we saw in the middle of the day. Revenue coming in $38 billion, so that's slightly above. We're trying to get some forecasts going forward as well to see what the breakdown is. I mean, this earnings per share number is something that we have to look at very closely, but the stock is to the downside, and we'll continue to follow it.
Interesting. All right, Scott Martin, Kevin Kelly are back with us, along with Heatha Herzog, H Square Chief Research Officer. Scott, I'll get your reaction there out of the gate. I feel like that earnings miss, there's got to be the per share number. There's got to be something in there that we just don't know about yet.
Yeah, there is. And Melissa, this has happened before with Amazon. I think the big thing to focus on here is the revenue beat on the top line, because that's really where a lot of investors should pay attention. But you're right. I mean, the EPS miss is huge. That's probably why you're seeing the reaction. But I'll tell you what's in these numbers, too, that's going to be interesting is the Whole Foods acquisition is going to be interesting as far as commentary. The AWS numbers, which growth is still amazing on AWS, but it is slowing. Companies like Microsoft are catching up. That could be a reason the stock's down.
Heatha, I mean, when you see the stock get hammered like this, it kind of strikes me as an opportunity. Amazon's such an incredible company, the way it continues to morph into wherever we are all going. I buy every single thing on Prime. I just got an email that they will deliver food from local restaurants to my house. I mean, is there anything Amazon's not planning on doing?
No. Right. Well, you're certainly seeing that acceleration on the retail side. It's about to accelerate about 5% for the next quarter. So you're seeing that. But to Scott's point, I mean, that AWS number, I mean, that's something that people are really going to start focusing on. And what that means, it's Amazon Cloud. That's a cloud service that they have, the Amazon Web Service. That accounts for about half of the operating profits of Amazon. And while it grew about 43% last quarter, it's still declining each quarter year over year.
Let's go back to Nicole. She's got a little more color on this. Nicole.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to talk about the foreign exchange rates, Melissa, and that's something that has impacted the company. They said that they actually had a year-over-year unfavorable over $500 million in unfavorable foreign exchange rates, and that trend is likely to continue going forward to the tune of about another $125 million unfavorable exchange rates. So that's an interesting part of it. I want to hear more about the warehouses. We heard about the jobs day. That's something key, that they're going to hire 50,000 workers. We've covered that story and more on the Whole Foods, but we're watching for any news on those pieces of information.
Okay, terrific. Kevin, your reaction?
Yeah, I think this currency headwinds is actually a cop-out due to the fact that the dollar is down 6% so far this year, and every other tech company has benefited from that. So if they're actually not benefiting from a weaker dollar, then I don't know what they're doing. But the important thing that's weighed on this earnings, this EPS, is probably content spending, right? Because think about everything they're trying to do for Prime members that you talked about, Melissa. I mean, they're giving away music for free, they're giving away video content for free, as well as shipping costs. They're focusing on third-party distributors, yet costs on the shipping side have gone up, and so they're trying to alleviate that. But their guidance going forward for the third quarter of the last 2 years has been better because they are gaining more Prime members. So if we think about it, Prime Day this year was was a smashing success. It's estimated there's 85 million Prime members, so that leads into the whole shipping costs going up as well as content acquisition costs.
Heath, I mean, they've taken over my whole entire life. Everything that isn't Apple is Amazon. I mean, I'll buy a pack of gum and have it delivered on Amazon Prime. I know their prices aren't always the best. I mean, when you compare, it's close, but it seems like while we're talking about the shipping costs, they do figure out where to make it up.
Right. What's really happening right now with Amazon is that they are trying desperately to not attrition out their customer to places like Walmart or Target, because let's face it, Walmart and Target, their online sales and their online operations are really ramping up. So yes, while Amazon Prime members are certainly coming in droves, it's not quite at the rate that Amazon needs to see it at to make sure that those sales do not attrition out.
Scott, is this an opportunity right here when you're watching the stock get hammered?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people I talk to that have missed this move from even, 1,000 and beyond, and even from 800, believe it or not. So they obviously weren't watching the show here. I think any pullback, like you saw even in Facebook today, pullback in Facebook all afternoon, that's a chance to get into some of these techs that you've missed out on.
Yeah. All right, guys, thank you. David.
We should mention it's still over